vice versa. So the first line, that is to say that if you're attached to this life, you're not a religious person. That actually, the commentary so far concludes the meaning of that. And what is implied with that is also the difficulty of attaining the precious human rebirth, as well as realization of the law of impermanence and death. But we wouldn't go into elucidating these two, as you might have already heard teachings. Now moving on to the second line, the meaning of the second line is the second line which states that if you are attached to this world cyclic existence, you do not have renunciation. So it's the state of nirvana, and attain the stage of that is sorrow beyond sorrow and beyond sorrow. In order to attain that end, one has to abandon one's attachment to three realms of existence, or sometimes known as three existence. Three realms of existence, namely form realm and formless realm and desire realm. The three concepts of existence refers to extraterrestrial, subterranean, and terrestrial. These three are actually same as with the concept of three realms of existence. So one, in order to be freed from this worldly existence of three realms of existence and to attain nirvana, one has to cease attachment to these three realms of existence. In order to be able to know attachment, or to know what reason with which one has to renounce the samsara existence, one has to know the shortcomings or the shortcomings or disadvantages of being in this worldly existence.
동아지 동아 길어도 태워도지 동아지 동아지 동아 길어도 태워도지 동아수는 참아 동아수 그릇이 동아지 동아는 계속 왔다데 다 도시 내가 로드 시기를 받다 뭐 야지 신선인데 계속 동아 사서 동아지 계속 동아지 다니면 세버들 고아니는 한번 동아지 동아한테 계속 동아지 동안에 가리어서 내가 계속 동안 나와서라도 이다도 뭐 돌리는 거 등등 이다서 되게 세는 거 되게 동안이 그래서 텔레마서 내가 동안 삼아 기재 부스 샤 그릇이 누구한테 샤도 좀 샤 그 기재 부스 삼단에 기재 부스 아직 내가 동안에 또 그런 가르쳐서 또 보는 수도 좀 살려 말이야 하다가 섭 급삼 뭐다는 무슨 그런 딱히 그러면 되고 되게 여러 또 변세를 영화에 저도 영화에서 또 교환을 대포가 교환을 교환자에 말이야 이것이라서 내가 손놈시 누구 어디 가서 영화지하고 손놈시 그랬어. 그 하나님이 텔레비전이다. 아주 배가 트위스 트리. 그다 탭사레스 탭사. 다 배가 좀 탭사레스. 텔레스 트위스 때문에 누구 트위스가 그런 것을 텔레트리스는 거다 받는.
So in order to develop renunciation and total disgust and sense of repulsion from this worldly existence, first of all one has to know the nature of being in the worldly existence and the experiences that beings have to undergo through. If one were to carefully consider the nature of worldly existence, I said that the worldly existence is tainted by the three types of suffering. It's called sufferings of suffering, sufferings of change, and sufferings of all conditional phenomena. If one were to ponder briefly on the suffering, meaning of the sufferings of suffering, it is largely concerned with the sufferings of the three lower realms, the realms of the hungry ghosts and animals, and those of the hell beings. If one were to, even for a minute, just to think about them and talk and listen about them, if one were to think about them, it is capable of arousing a sense of trembling and fearfulness, almost that you could not possibly imagine being able to undergo through such a life. However severe the suffering is, but due to the heaviness of the karma, they're yet unable to die. So if one were to carefully think of the severe nature of the sufferings of the three lower realms, it is not only able to engender some sense of urgency with which one must try so that one doesn't create any karma that actually directly lead oneself to find such a rebirth. So therefore, would it be possible for oneself to be actually bare physically born in such form of life? If even to imagine and talk about it trembles our fleshes and engenders such a great sense of fear and sense of insecurity. So therefore, here the author reiterates the importance, instead of seriously finding ways of restraining from non-virtuous deeds, which themselves are direct causes of throwing oneself in those three realms, why is one busily actually cultivating the very causes which will throw oneself in those three realms? So therefore it is important not only to know and hear and fathom the nature of the sufferings of the lower realms, but actually engender a great sense of renunciation, so that one has deep repulsion from such acts that are related to the very experiences of those suffering. So therefore one should learn how to restrain from those very deeds, which leads oneself to throw in those forms of lower realms, which are afflicted by the sufferings of suffering as the dominant form of three sufferings. So that is the first suffering. Suffering mainly suffering that afflicts beings in the three lower realms of existence. Now to elucidate the meaning of the suffering of change that largely affects the three higher realm beings, It says if one were to consider the meaning of the suffering of change, it says look at the nature of the transient nature of all beings. The highly elevated beings born in the higher realms, there is constant examples of many of those beings who are born in higher realms going and just falling into the lower realms. And even the most powerful Indra, who rules this physical world, actually becomes enslaved by other very lowly figure beings. And not only that, some who are born as sun and moon, which actually has the power to illuminate the darkness of the whole universe, one day will be born as a place that one wouldn't even be able to see stretching one's own hands. So there is even the most powerful universal monarchs who actually exercise power to the whole world will actually become enslaved and imprisoned. There's no great certainty, any form of pleasant circumstances, from the highest those of the universal monarch to those ordinary happiness or status that we might enjoy. However pleasant they may manifest, they are, however, all transient, and they are all passing away. The moment you obtained, nothing seems to be staying at all in one's hand. Even though one may be able to believe these teachings of law of impermanence and transient nature of all things, because they came from the Sutta and teachings of the Buddha, ordinary people aren't willing or ready to fathom these deep meanings of the realization of the transitory nature of all existence. Look at the actual, he says, if one has difficulty gaining realization and gaining realization of the transient nature of the things, why don't you go and consider changing nature of the human relationship? Look at the people who are rich, who have now become so poor, strong becoming so